everyone, welcome back to Nanbai. This is me Ankita and today we are making one of the most requested recipes. We are making glazed brownies. I love glazed brownies. I mean, who doesn't, right? So glazed brownies, and this is a very easy recipe. It has just 5 ingredients and the ganache then on top. So it is probably the easiest brownie that you're ever going to make, and super duper yummy, like super duper yummy. So let's just get started right away. So I have a big bowl here in which I am going to sift sugar and cocoa powder. You don't have to sift it. I just like sifting dry ingredients. I don't know, I just feel, it gets distributed evenly and more nicely. So yeah, I just like sifting it. So sift this. That's gonna be super quick. There we go. Oops, dropped some. And that's it. Then the next thing is we are going to add eggs. So I have 2 eggs here, and they're at room temperature. Just very important, it's better if they're at room temperature, not cold. And using a whisk, I'm going to just mix it up. Now the next thing I have is melted butter. Now the butter is not only melted, but it is hot. I think that is very important, that the butter needs to be hot. So this is hot butter. I melted this in the microwave, and in it goes. Of course, scrape the cup and gently, starting from the center, mix it up. That's it, looking good. And once I'm just going to quickly scrape this. Just want to make sure there's nothing sitting at the bottom, or I could also, bring in the stuff that is on the side. I just like scraping my bowl always. See, there was stuff sitting in the bottom, so scraping, very important. Okay, now that this is done, whisk it one more time. Okay, that looks good. Now the last ingredient, I have some all-purpose flour. Dump it in. Take everything whatever is in the bowl. And gently, from the inside, work your way outwards. Not going to mix it too much. Now if you want, at this stage, you could add walnuts, pecans, chocolate chips, whatever you want. I'm going to leave this plain. But please, if you want, go ahead and add anything that you want in the brownie. And I have 6-inch square pan that I'm using. I've greased it, like I've sprayed it with the cooking oil, and I put a parchment in the bottom. Now, if you don't have a cooking spray, you could just use butter, melted butter and flour. That's okay. So into the cake pan it goes. You can even make it in a baking tray, baking sheet, anything really. Oh, this is such a good recipe, and it's so easy. Just give it a gentle tap, just so you know it's leveled up. Now the oven is at 350 degree Fahrenheit, which is also 180 degrees Celsius. It's preheated, so I'm going to put this in the oven for 30 minutes. Usually it takes 32 minutes, and so I'm going to start with 30 minutes and then I'll see how long it takes. So it is out of the oven. It took 35 minutes this time. And I inserted a toothpick and it came out clean. So just right out of the oven, it's really hot. I will let it cool down just a little bit before I take it out of the pan, and then we will make the ganache and glaze it right away. Now we're going to be making ganache. So I'm using a 1:1 ratio for the ganache. That is, I'm using 150 grams of chocolate, dark chocolate, and I'm using 150 grams of heavy cream. Now I have melted the chocolate partially, not all the way. If you can see, you can still see the pistils, and the cream is nice and hot. Now when you're making a ganache, you don't want to boil your milk. That will, steal away the shine from the chocolate. All you want is heat it up to a level where it's about to boil but not boiling yet. So basically very, very hot. And to get the best result, best ganache, what you want to do is melt the chocolate halfway and then pour hot cream over it. Let it sit for a couple of minutes and then whisk it. That's exactly what I'm going to do. The chocolate is partially melted, the cream is hot. I'm going to pour the hot cream over the chocolate and scrape the bowl, like I always say. Scrape, scrape, scrape. There it is. Okay, that is done. Now while this is sitting for a couple of minutes, let us take the brownie out of the pan. So I have the brownie here. I have a butter knife. Release the sides. Okay. Flip it. Now the reason I'm flipping this and taking it out is because I like to put the ganache on the smoother side rather than this side, so we'll get a nice smooth top. So I'm going to put this back in the pan with the parchment. Let's do this. This is a little tricky. Okay, there we go. Actually, not that bad. So I have it back in the pan, and once this is ready, I'm going to pour on top of this. Okay, so this is done. I'm going to keep this on the side, and we can start mixing the chocolate. So I have a whisk. Now, another thing to remember while making ganache, whisk it gently. You do not want to incorporate any air into your ganache, because that will break your ganache. It's not good. It will spoil it. Suppose that happens, how do you save it? All you have to do is add a little more cream and your ganache will be fine. And there you have it. Beautiful, shiny ganache. Look at this. Now, if you want a nice, slightly firmer ganache, you could increase the chocolate and decrease the milk in it, the cream, in it, or if you want a more runny ganache, you can increase the milk and decrease the chocolate. It depends on what. For brownie, I think a 1:1 ratio works the best. So that's it. I'm going to probably just scrape the bowl once. And there you have a beautiful shiny ganache. Look at this. It's so nice and shiny. It's a good way to emulsify the chocolate and the cream, when you, they're both kind of a little hot and melted, because see, chocolate and cream, they have different textures, they don't really mix up together, so we have to emulsify. That is why we use a whisk rather than a spatula, but do it gently. We do not want to incorporate any. I cannot emphasize how important that is. You don't want a broken ganache. So bring this back and pour it right on top. Now this is going to be a pretty thick layer of ganache. But that's how I like it. I mean, you're eating a brownie, it needs to have a lot of ganache in it, right? So there we go. Okay. Gently shake your pan so it's equally, it's just everywhere. And now, if you want again, at this point, you could sprinkle some nuts, walnuts, almonds, whatever. I mean, walnuts and pecans are most popular with brownies or chocolate chips. I'm not adding any nuts to it just this time, but please feel free to add nuts if you want. I'm just adding some chocolate sprinkles. Usually I like to add anything on top once it sets just a teeny bit, let's say after 10 minutes. Reason being because sometimes if the ganache is too liquidy, it'll just sink right to the bottom, And I have some crunchy bits here of just chocolate and some feuillantine. I'm going to sprinkle that on top too. So it'll have a nice crunchy bite on top when I eat it. Okay, and that is it. So I'm going to put this in the refrigerator till it sets. Now it's a pretty thick layer of ganache, so it's just going to take maybe an hour to set. And then we'll take it out of the pan and then we're going to slice the brownies and eat them. can't wait. So it's set and firm enough that I can cut the brownie, and of course because we are cutting brownies, so I'm joined here by a special guest and he wants to taste the brownies. Ollie, are you excited?
Yes.
Should we start cutting the brownies?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a really nice sharp knife which is a must when you're cutting brownies, so you can cut neatly through the ganache. And I have a slightly damp tissue here because after every cut I might just wipe the knife down so I get cleaner, neater cuts. Okay, so I'm just eyeballing it. You can measure it, of course. So there we have it.
Papa.
So you can see these ones that I've made, they're kind of tall, and even the layer of ganache is quite a lot. See, that's how I like it. You want less ganache, you can pour less ganache in it, really. I just like these brownies like this. They're absolutely mind-blowing with tons of ganache on it. So alright, now it is tasting time.
Give me the biggest piece.
Yeah, go ahead, tell me how it is. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Like it or love it?
Love it.
Is it yummy?
Like it, love it. Like it, love it, yummy. That means I love it a whole lot. Yeah.
These are really, really good. So me and Ollie are going to go ahead and enjoy these brownies. They are so indulgent and pretty rich. So you can, make a slightly less batter. If you don't want the brownie to be that tall, maybe put less ganache in it. Just tweak the recipe. No, that's enough. Just tweak the recipe the way you like it. But try this recipe. It's a really easy brownie recipe. And yes,
Very good.
very good. Okay, so it's Ollie approved, and I love this recipe very much. So try it out. Let me know how it goes, and have tons of brownie, have the whole thing, and just enjoy yourselves. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching.